Hi there, welcome to Dire Bear Adventuring Company, Episode 1, where we just sit around and play D&D. Dire Bear Adventuring Company is your portal for adventure and fun on your tabletop, both real and virtual. My name is Heath. I am the founder and head GM, DM, actually technically the only GM, DM right now for Dire Bear Adventuring Company, and we want to welcome you to watching and hanging out with us while we have fun in the world of Kyrith, a home-brewed campaign in the setting and the game system of 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons. Tonight we have with us, as we will have with us every week, hopefully, we have Maddie, who is playing Annalise, Jack as Yenfear, Steve as Gillett, not Gillette, and Chief playing Arneth. Just a little bit about the world of Kyrith. The world of Kyrith is an interesting place. It is manned primarily, or I should say populated primarily by a race of individuals known as the Kamat. They are a race of cat people, but unlike the Tabaxi or the cat race from that other very popular RPG game, they are of various shapes and sizes. So you could have a Scottish fold who is short with his little ears and a pot belly, or you could have a huge tiger with broad shoulders and a huge build. Any mix of race, so it's not like they're all kind of one standard size and whatever. This place is populated primarily by them, with the second, and probably tying right with them, being humans. The world is full of lush green fields, rolling hills, huge mountains, spanning oceans, and 4 major land masses, which we will may or may not get into as we go along and play in our campaign. Some neat things about Kyrith is that the kingdoms have their own individual running and things like that. There's not a whole lot of overlap. The kingdoms are usually sprawling, with Sabarinth in the north, which is populated by mostly humans and hardy nomadic tribes of barbarians, all the way to the oceans, which are manned or piloted by these floating islands that are piloted by sea elves, very laid-back kind of Pacific Islander race where they don't really capitalize or use monetary means in the normal tradition, but they do trade and bartering systems with the ports that they make their ways into. Elves are not uncommon. Dwarves, gnomes, halflings, they're not uncommon, but they usually tend to keep to their own little areas. And what's even more impressive is that with the number of elves that are out there, because there are actually like 3 or 4 different subraces, that they still aren't as seen as often as other races like the Kamat, the humans, the halflings, probably the dwarves, so forth and so on. They're actually revered for their magical abilities that are innate within them by the Kamat and the humans as well. Unlike other worlds where the gods sit upon high in some unknown location, the gods here walk the earth. There's a possibility, very real, that they could come across the god who is wearing the mantle of the god of life or the goddess of death. With that being said, we're going to go ahead and start. Nestled somewhere south of the city of Lanceport, a large sprawling city which deals primarily in trade goods, other craftsmen and things like that. On the trade route heading south is the town of Adalar. The town of Adalar gets its name from a once lost kingdom that might or may not have been real. It's kind of unsure anymore of what it is. It's been lost for so many centuries that it's become more of a myth. Nevertheless, the town of Adalar, which was primarily farmland, has grown in prosperity due to its position on the trade route between Lanceport and the city to the south. There are 3 primary factions in the city. There is the Farms Guild, the Craftsmen's Guild, and the Trade Guild. Each faction is vying for control, power, or place of position within the city because they're the ones that will make more income based off of who has that power. To such, they've put out a cry and a request for any adventurers to please make their way there to help them with a problem. While it is a larger town, it still is small by comparison to others, and therefore its garrison of militia is not as large as some of the larger cities. One of the things to note, and that's interesting in Kyrith, is that there's not really adventurers just running around willy-nilly. They came upon a problem where the economy was being upset, as was most of the countryside, because of, well, murderer hobos. Adventuring parties roaming the lands, killing the monster, loot the monster, kill the monster, loot the body, kill the monster, loot the body, rifle through these ancient antiquities, and it became a bit of a problem. The kingdoms then therefore decided that the only way that you can become an adventurer is if you are actually licensed and bonded. It is legally against the law, to adventure without being licensed. You have a writ or a badge. Most of them use writs because a badge can be, much like treasure, kill the monster, loot the badge. So they put out their call through official chains, and that is where the party comes in. You find yourself standing on a dirt path. You find yourself standing on a dirt path outside of a small town. A nice smattering of homes, large buildings, and the crossroad make up the center of the town. On the north side, you have a small squat house with a plaque in front of it that reads Mayoral Office and Clerk Office. To the right of it, hanging on a placard above the door, is a sign that has a set of scales, gold in each side, weighing them out. And underneath of that, it says Trade Guild. Across the road to the south comes the sound of clattering hammer on steel against anvil, the sound of people doing work. There is outside of it another sign hanging. It has a set of crafting tools hanging on the placard. And across to the left of that, across the road, is an open-aired market. And you can see people in there selling fresh produce and fresh goods and things like that. The writ that you receive from your adventuring company tells you to go to the town of Adalar and meet at the mayor's office. You can turn in the notice and get hired on to do the job. Now, with that being said, Annalise, you've been traveling the road for some time. Mud, dirt caked on your boots. The end of your long coat has seen as much wear as well. The town is sunny and it's dry. It's a sunny day. It's about maybe 11 o'clock in the morning, so just before noon. And there's a bit of a hubbub. Most of the crafting hall, the guild hall, and the market seems to be empty, or at least there's very little life going on. And again, up at the mayor's office, though, there seems to be quite a bit of activity going on. Yenfir, as you come traveling down the road, you see a strange figure standing in the road, a large brimmed hat on their head, scarf around the neck, a long coat, and a mask pulled up. Again, what would normally be a bustling time of day for this particular city, it's starkly empty. There doesn't seem to be a whole lot going on, except at the mayor's office. It's so busy that there are teams of people actually standing outside the door. The door is open and people are staring inside of it, like you see them kind of jockeying for position to try to get a better glimpse. Gillett, Arneth, same thing. Standing in the road, you see a figure with a tall, wide-brimmed hat, mask pulled up, scarf around their neck, and a long coat that hangs almost all the way to the ground. Next to them is how would you describe Yenfir? Flamboyantly dressed?
A disaster. Yeah, flamboyantly dressed. I don't know any way to describe them other than like.
Why don't you guys go ahead and put your tokens on the map? You can scroll out and put them up higher if you don't want to be in the center of town. That would be perfectly fine as well.
Okay. Tokens.
Yes.
I have somebody to message. Maddie, did you manage to make me one?
Yay, I remember how to do it.
You remember how to drag and drop them down there?
Oh, it's there. Okay.
All right.
300 times. And it did.
Excellent. All right. So again, down in the south, you can hear a lot of hubbub going on. People raised voices from inside. You hear two men, one a little more agitated than the other, and you hear a woman's voice, kind of a very commanding voice for a lady, a little on the deeper register, and very demanding, almost as though you can picture the person in your mind as tall, thin, reedy, hawkish, very much used to having her way with things. And go ahead and approach the mayoral office if you would, please. I'm going to cajole you here, and then this will be the last of my cajoling, I promise. It's the one where Inferior is. Yes, that is the one right down there. All right. So again, there's a throng of people outside the door. You can push your way past and you can see that it's not filled with people. It's not like standing room only, but there are quite a few people that are, taking up office. There's definitely no sitting room. And you can see people in there. They're mostly laborers, farmers. They're dressed in, simple clothing. And at the very end of the hall, so it's pretty much what it is. It's a nondescript room. It looks like it's used for office or for town meetings and things like that. There are a couple of tables on the east and west side that seat about 8 people per side, and they're full. You see one at the very far end. It's about 5 feet long, and it's got 2 people at it. An older man with a thick mutton chops that are colored white that come around into the biker, the biker stash, or the stash that comes around here, and a shock of white hair on his head. The clothes that he's in appear to be too big for him, like they once fit him, but just as time has worn him down, he now looks a bit baggy and unkempt. Next to him is a small, kind of mousy lady. She's sitting there with a large ledger in front of her, and she's furiously writing, taking notes as the meeting goes on. Standing in front of them, commanding the audience of the rest of the room, are 3 individuals. There's a large man. He probably stands about 6'3", broad shoulders, thick arms, has a hammer hanging at his belt that is clearly a smithing hammer. He has the look about him of someone who does manual labor for long hours of a day. And while his legs and his arms are tree trunk-like, he still has a bit of a pot belly on him. Next to him is a tall, thin woman that has the voice that you heard before. Her hair is straw-like, but instead of being yellow, it's been faded to white. So it's white at the end or at the root, and then it fades to a dull yellow color at the end. Her face and her arms are tan. You can tell that she spends a lot of time outside working in the garden or working in a farm. And the third person, probably about 5'8" or so, human as well. He has a foppish hat on his head that's more like an oversized beret kind of thing, kind of hangs down to one side. He has a nice coat made of some kind of finer material with brocade. Lovely pantaloons that go into knit meshing or to stockings, and then very nice slippers on his feet. Apparently, of the three of them, he's the most influential as far as money goes. They're arguing back and forth, and you hear the woman say, "I'll not take another moment of your time, but I do know that if it weren't for me and mine, you'd all starve to death. You keep that in mind, Mr. Carter Willis." When she's pointing at the heavy-set man with the nice clothing, and Carter, that she addressed, holds his hands up and says, "Please, please, Marin. We all know that without money to trade with and the passing caravans, that this city would have no sort of income, and you would all be back to tilling in the earth. I think that with my guild, that we've afforded you a lot more of life's pleasures." And between the both of them, the large man with the big, thick arms is standing there with his arms crossed, and he just kind of scowls and he says, "And you remember this, Marin. Without my tools and the people that worked for me, you'd not have what you need to till the ground." And she gives kind of a huff. And they're apparently at a standoff because they know that they all kind of need each other, but none of them wants to give. And in front of them, the mayor sits, kind of watching them passively, as though he were like watching three children argue over who gets their turn with the ball. And eventually, Marin says, "Well, are you going to do anything about this? Or are we just going to argue?" To which the mayor holds his hand up and he says, "I've sent word. There should be people here soon. Licensed. They'll take care of your problems. But you'll have to pay them. We're not taking it from the shitty coffers. Do we have an agreement?" You see Marin cross her arms in a huff, and she turns her head up toward the ceiling. Barden, who's standing there with his thick arms crossed, he doesn't make a word. And Carter, the heavy-set man with the nice clothes, says, "Well, as long as the issue gets taken care of, I guess that's really what matters in the end. I think I'll see myself out back to the guild hall. Apparently, we're not going to get anything done here. Ladies, gentlemen." And with that, he kind of gives a bow, and he starts towards the door. He kind of catches sight of the four of you standing there. Not that you're there together, but just that the four individuals stand out in this crowd completely. And he says, he kind of waggles a finger at you and he goes, "You'll want to see the man at the front of the office. Toodaloo." And that he walks out of the building, kind of, waddling towards his office. Marin looks at the man with thick arms and addresses him, and she says, "You're not wrong, Barden, but we'll not get anywhere with that one. If it were up to me, we'd not need him at all." To which Barden says, "Marin, we need him. We can't do without him and his money. I hate it as well. But that's the fate we're dealt. Let's go. We've no more business here today." And with that, he turns. And again, you can see, he's muscles and then that little bit of a paunch. You can see like gray and black scruff on his face as he starts his way out the door. And Marin turns and she starts to follow. And she's actually stands a good little, few inches taller than he is. So she's probably topping around 6'4". She's tall. And as she walks by and she sees you, and she kind of gives you a sneer almost, Like she doesn't have much place for you. And she goes, I'm sure you all have papers. Make sure you see the clerk and the mayor. And when you're done, come see me. I'll be across the street at the market. And she slides past you all. Barton doesn't pay you any mind. He just heads out of the office. With the hubbub and the argument over with, most of the hall thins out. People start to mill their way out and go back to their jobs, or go about their lives. That's when the clerk notices you, because I'm sure you haven't left yet. She looks and she kind of says, "Oh, hello. Please come forward." And she beckons you forward. As you approach, now that you see that it is kind of a small room. I mean, it's 20 foot by 20 foot, but with that many people in there, you could say it was pretty cramped. The mayor looks at you and he kind of gives you one of those tottering old smiles that you would see from someone of an elderly age, and he says, I'm glad you could all make it here. Those three each have a unique issue, and to be quite honest with you, I'm not sure what to do with them. Each one of them thinks that they're the center of the city, the community. But the truth be told, they all need each other. I sent out word and hired you to help settle the dispute. They all want their problems taken care of first. Go and speak to each one of them. See if you can't get them to come to some sort of an agreement. Possibly see what it is they need and take care of it for them. He kind of gives a scratch to the stubble that's growing on the bottom of his chin, and he stands up and he says, well, I'm hungry and thirsty, and looks like there's nobody left here, so good day. And he smiles at you and he walks off to a small office that's attached to the side of the building. The clerk, and she gets up and takes her ledger and scrambles after him. All right. The Traders Guild is across the street, like I said, to the east. It would be this one right here. The Artisans Guild is located here. And the market, of course, is located just to the south of the mayor's office. Where would you like to go first?
I say the Artisans Guild.
All right.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
That's where Annalise is headed anyway.
All right.
Whether she's paying attention to the rest or not, that's where she's headed.
Whether she's going with them or she just happens to be going in that direction, she's going that way.
Okay.
What about Gillette or Gillett?
I'm thinking a request was made. Go talk to the lady who asked.
So Gillett's going to head to the farmer's market.
Mm-hmm.
All right. All right. We'll go ahead and have you all move to your positions there. Move yourselves over there to where you're going. And Gillett, we'll start with you.
The Artisans Guild, right?
Nope. Artisans Guild is north.
Shit.
No, Artisans Guild. The outhouse is elsewhere.
God damn it.
Gillett,
Can you just put me where I need to be?
Just move me. You're just take my token and move me.
I don't know.
I don't even know what I'm
running
doing
up and
here.
down the streets.
Was Annalise heading to the Artisans Guild?
Once she sees the other two headed that way, she's going to change her mind and head to the Merchants Guild.
Okay.
Well,
so that's
okay,
up north. So the other two are at the Merchants Guild, so.
For fuck's sake.
All right.
All right, guys, let's just switch spots because we're clearly in the wrong spot here.
Nope.
You guys should be down there.
All right.
We're already lost.
Okay, one more time. This is the Artisans Guild. This is the Merchants Guild.
I thought I was there the first time and you told... Okay, never mind. You know what?
Jack, don't argue with the DM.
Uh-huh.
Do you want to live through Princess Strahd or not?
Do you want to get a 5-finger, or do you want to get a finger of death? Because that's how you get a finger of death.
No.
All right. Gillett, as you walk up, as you approach, you can see that the people are starting to lay out carts. They're returning to their business. You can see a myriad of fresh fruits and vegetables picked that morning. Some of them still haven't had all the dirt knocked off of them. You can see people standing there with flats of eggs and all sorts of different things that you would see at any farmer's market. Standing there at her own booth, overlooking her own wares, which are actually kind of meager. She doesn't have a whole lot set out, but you see the very tall and ill-natured Marin standing there looking at you. As you approach, she kind of gives you the look of one who's resigned to her fate, although she doesn't necessarily agree with the path that's been chosen. And so she says, well, I guess you'd be wanting to know what the problem is. There's some sort of strange blight that's taken over the farmland, turning it all into a marsh, a dead marsh or a swamp. We don't know what the cause is, and no matter what we try to do, we can't seem to stop it. We'd like for you to investigate the issue itself, find out what the cause is, and see if you can put a stop to it. For that, me and the guild and the farmers co-op will pay you 30 gold for your troubles. What say you?
I am able to do this. What direction should I start in?
Head to the southwest. Sorry, head to the southeast. You'll see the forest there, and the land will start to turn into swamp. You'll see the dead trees. You can't miss it. I will say, I'll say that you should be careful. There's been some strange noises coming from part of it. And we don't know, or we can't identify what it is.
I see. Is there anything else I should know?
Not that any more than we know. That is, we don't know.
Very well then. I'll have to do some investigation.
She takes in she takes into her palm and then she holds it out for you. Seal the bargain.
I can't say I'm familiar with this, but
all right, you clasp hands, and she says, "Done. I'm good for my word. 30 gold."
Okay.
All right. Annalise, the door to this plush building, well-made. It's a well-made place. You can see several smokestacks. It almost looks like a way station where people come and drop off their goods. There's a ledger, the kind of a place where you would do business, any kind of trading guild. The door stands open. And from inside, you can hear soft music being played, a couple of voices of women laughing, and some other sounds like the clinking of glass and things like that. As you step inside, the smell of roast and steamed vegetables and cooking foods just hit your senses and take you away. You can see that there is a large room off of the main foyer just to the right as you enter in. In it are several chairs, overstuffed leather chairs, and in its center one Carter Willis. He currently holds a glass of some red, shimmering liquid, probably wine from your guess. He's sitting there with his legs crossed, and he has a young lady sitting on the arm of his chair that she is laughing at his every word as though he were the funniest thing alive, even though he's a bit repugnant.
Is this a traders guild or a brothel?
He says, trading in services is just as good as trading in goods. Why not have both? I take it you're one of the adventurers that the mayor has sent out for.
So they tell me.
Excellent. We have a bit of a problem on the roads to the north. There's a small, a little trifling for you. It's a group of bandits who seem to be waylaying some of the caravans, but only some of them. Those with the choicest goods. And as much as we've tried, it seems that the garrison just isn't able to stop them from what they're doing. I would like for you to look into the issue and see what you can find about it. Stop them, please. I fear that if this continues on, we'll lose our prestige and our standing with the rest of the guilds. And other merchants will stop coming here, and the money will dry up. And this place will waste away. And as you can tell, I have a bit of an investment here. What do you say? How about 40 gold for you if you stop them? And if you return for any of my goods, well, let's just say we'll check the ledger and see the value of them. Do we have a deal?
Sure.
Excellent.
Works out just fine for me.
He snaps his fingers, and a moment later, a young man dressed kind of like he is, with the pantaloons and the stockings down below and fine doublet on, comes out with a tray, and on it is a contract. And he says, as you can see here, it clearly states, I will pay you 40 gold for ending the threat of the bandits and the value of any goods returned. We have an accord. And he turns it around, and there sits a bottle of ink and a quill on there, and he offers it to you to sign.
She's going to carefully read it over,
okay,
just to be sure that this guy's not fucking with her.
All right. Go ahead and give me... Good one. Go ahead and just give me a straight intelligence check.
It's a 17, Cap.
All right. Yeah, it seems to be as legitimate as possible.
Okay.
No
Then
small
she
print
will...
or anything.
All right. She'll pick up the quill, sign her name, dust it with sand to solidify the ink,
mm-hmm.
and then slide it back to him.
Excellent.
Where do your trading routes normally come in from?
Off the North Road. Can't miss it. They come out of Lanceport to the north.
Okay. I suppose I start there.
An excellent choice. Care for any drink or food or company?
No, I'm plenty good, thank you.
All right. Well, do return in one piece, I hope. Toodaloo. And with that, he goes back to entertaining his current guest. All right. Yenfir and Arneth, you kind of look at one another a little bit, uneasily. What does Arneth look like?
He is a 6'4" half-orc with gray skin. He's got a very fluffy dark beard. His hair is kind of like a mohawk that goes back into a braid.
Like an undercut?
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, I got you. So it's pulled back like on the center?
Yes.
All right.
He's got his beard somewhat covers up 4 somewhat old-looking slash marks across his face.
Okay.
He's got hazel green eyes. The most notable thing about him would be a very tight string around his throat that is holding a small golden ring.
Okay. Like choker almost, like a choker kind of thing?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
It looks like it wasn't originally his.
Mm-hmm.
Like he never found the time to get a longer string.
I gotcha.
Didn't care for it.
I gotcha. What about Yenfir? What does Yenfir look like?
A disaster? No.
We've already been there.
Yeah, I know. It's still true. So he is, how tall did I make him? 5'11"?
We start measuring in apples after a while.
He's 55 apples tall. No.
He's 142 apples tall.
He's about 160 pounds.
Okay.
Blue eyes.
Right.
Fair-skinned. Kind of a mop of curly red hair that just falls in front of his face. It's short in the back and long in the front.
Like a reverse mullet?
Sure. Yeah, we'll go with that.
He's all business in the back. Oh, that sounds awesome.
Actually, they're called pixie cuts.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. I learned something new today.
I only know that because that's what I used to actually have as a hairstyle for the longest time.
Nice.
And he has a couple ear piercings. So he's an elf.
Okay.
An Eladrin elf. And he has one ear cuff on his right ear and 2 piercings in each ear.
All right. As you stand outside of the Artisans Guild, the smells of labor hit your nose. It's the smell of sweat, the smell of embers, a stoked fire, chemicals used to cool metal and work in etchings. You also smell it's the briny, heady scent of cured leathers or curing of leathers. So this is just cacophony of odors assail your nose. The doors to this, there really isn't one. You can see that it's got more of like it's not a solid door. It's more like a portcullis, but it's like a prison door. It's got bars on it, and it swings open. You see that the windows are kind of built the same way. They have bars on the windows, not to keep anybody out, but to allow for maximum ventilation in the room. The whole back side of the building is open, and everybody's working underneath there. And you can see probably about 10 different people doing different jobs. Smithing work and metalworking and leatherworking. There's seamstress and other things like that. They're all working in this shop, and they're all going at it and overseeing them. And every once in a while, taking a hammer from one of the younger individuals is the gentleman who was introduced earlier as Barden. He sees you, and he kind of holds up a finger for one moment, and he goes to talking to a much younger man working at an anvil on just a pair of simple horseshoes. And he's kind of pointing something out to him and showing him, how the proper strike and everything else like that. And he's telling him, get 3 good hits, watch the bend, douse it in the oil, heat it up, and he's going over the steps on making these just really simple horseshoes. You can tell, though, that this is a labor of love for him, that this is something that he didn't just get this job. This is something that he's really into. This is his life, his passion. Anyways, he gets finished and he takes off the big thick leather gloves that he has, and he tucks them into to the tie on the apron that he has on. He takes the loop of the apron and bending down, he takes the loop off, but he keeps the apron on. It just folds over in half. You can see a simple shirt, no buttons on it. It seems like it's just got a loose collar and it's stitched at the shoulders underneath. Almost what we would think of as a t-shirt, but with like a regular shirt material. He walks up to you and he offers his hand and he says, "Barden Wainwright, it's a pleasure to meet you." And he shakes your hand and he says, "I understand that the mayor sent word for you to come and help us. I'm much obliged. Our problem is that we've got a stone quarry that's no longer usable. We've been run off from there thanks to small threat of goblins. Be much obliged if you could go take a look at it and take care of the problem for us."
Do you know how many goblins are there?
More than 2. And he gives you a shrug. He's like, he says, "Look, I'm not trying to be hard-nosed. Just, I know more about working the metal than I do about fighting goblins. So I'd be much obliged if you could take care of it."
That's fair.
Okay.
He says, he kind of rubs his neck and he says, I'll pay you if you go take care of it. I tell you what, I'll give you, he kind of thinks for a second. He says, "I'll give you 2 gold for every goblin ear you bring me."
Arnath is gonna look at Yennefer and he's gonna say, "Does that sound fair to you?"
Absolutely not.
Barden kind of scowls and he says, "I didn't mean to offend. What would be a fair price?"
How about 5?
He kind of you could break the whole entire guild. I mean, look at this. And he motions to everybody, and they're simple work folk. They're making their own tools in some of the places. They're kind of simple folk. He says, I would need to talk to the rest of them to make sure that that's okay. You sure 2? 2 seems fair to me, right? And he points at Arnath. That seems fair to you, right?
I'd settle for 3.
3.5.
All right, give me a persuasion check.
Me?
Yes, Yennefer, I'd like for you to give me a persuasion check. All right, so I rolled a 17, and he looks at you and goes...
He's just like...
and he looks at Arnath and he says, I'll do 3. 3 is fair.
Thank you.
And he says, of course, and he offers his hand to you. And he says, we'll seal the deal, right?
Yes, of course.
All right. And he shakes your hand and he says, if you go west out of town, you'll see the quarry and the caves in the hills right before the mountains start. Shouldn't take you more than a day to get there.
All right, we'll be off then.
Excellent. If you don't mind, I'm going to get back to work. And he goes ahead and turns back around and starts, and he takes his apron and puts it back over his head, takes his gloves out and slips them on. He goes over to an anvil. You see him slip the hammer that he had out of his belt, and he starts working on something. All right. There is a tavern in town if you want to set out for the day. It's probably about close to noon now. In the town, you see, let me zoom us out a little bit more here so that everybody else in the world can see the town. At the end of the western edge of the road is a large building. You see a sign swaying out front of it in the light breeze that's there. It has the look, the clapboard, the board that hangs up there has an image of a well-dressed man with his finger in the air, holding a mug in the other hand, and the little universal symbol for being drunk with the bubbles coming off of his head, and the name underneath it says the braying blowhard. You see you can see there's not a whole lot going on there. It's still kind of early in the day. You see some patrons coming and going, apparently having eaten a meal there. On the road into town, you saw another building just on the opposite side of the of the merchant guild, and it has a sign swinging in front of it. It looks like a few hills, like the symbol of a few hills there, and it has the sign underneath it that says the Rolling Inn. INN, the Rolling Inn. So you know that there's a place to stay and a place to get a drink if you want one. According to what you know and asking around the farmland and to get to the forest, you could probably reach there, in about a half a day. The quarry will take you about a day to get to, and the bandits to the north, he didn't say, he just said along the road to the north. He didn't really give you much information beyond that. So, you all have a respective job. Are you going to go your separate ways? Or where are you going to next?
I feel like it would be a terrible idea for all of us to just go different ways.
Let's go get a drink.
Yeah.
All right. So, Yenfir and Arnith, are you going to go to the Rolling Inn, which has a tap room, or are you going to go to the Brang?
Yes,
Blowhard.
The Brang Blowhard.
The Brang Blowhard. All right.
And I walk up to the entrance of the tavern, and I look at the sign, and I say, "Hey, it's you!" And I walk in.
To Arnith?
Yes.
Okay.
So your new quote-unquote companion has just called you a Brang Blowhard. All right, so you're going to follow in suit behind them?
Yes, Ernest.
All right.
He doesn't even know what that means.
There's a couple of people sitting around tables, having drinks, meals. It's, just that meal time of day. There's a young lady there. She says, "I'll be with you in a moment. Please have a seat anywhere, and I'll take your order." And she walks by carrying a tray with drinks on it. You find a seat in the corner. It's like I said, it's not a big tavern, but it has enough room to seat comfortably, maybe 7 or 8 different parties. It's kind of dim lit in here because of it's just not a very well windowed place. And most of the lanterns and the lamps that are in there are just kind of guttered low. But it's comfortable. There's a small fireplace going with a little fire in the hearth. And she comes up to you and she says, "What may I get for you? We have we have roast mutton. We do have some meat pies. And there's, of course, we have ale and wine, your normal spirits. What may I get you today?" I'll let you think on that for a minute. Annalise and Gillett, what are you guys doing?
I'll be stopping over for a bite to eat myself.
All right. Are you going to go to the Rolling Inn or to the Brang Blowhard?
I'll be going to the bring Blowhard as well, as it is closer to the southeast.
All right. And Annalise, what are your plans?
She's heading north.
She's heading north out of town?
Yeah.
Excellent.
She's heading north out of town because she knows that like if she waits too long, like any trail is going to be gone.
All right.
So she's going to look for tracks. She may not do anything like right tonight, but she's going to look for tracks to see if there's anything that can lead her and give her,
it's about
some more information.
Sure, it's about midday. How far out are you going to trek?
She'll trek out for like half the afternoon, looking for tracks.
All right.
And then once it gets about like halfway through the afternoon, she'll turn around and go back because she doesn't want to be
out there after
you
dark.
don't want to get caught out there.
Okay.
After dark, although she can handle it because she's been trained to.
Right. All right. So let's go ahead and give me a survival check then. All right. Your first couple of hours don't yield anything other than wagon tracks, horse prints, things like that. It just seems like a well-traveled road. Yenfir, Gillette, and Arnith, you guys are in the tavern ordering your food and drinks, which the young lady brings out to you. What are your plans? What are you guys going to do from here?
Where did he say that? What are we doing? Where are we going?
That is the question.
Yes. The answer is yes.
You just remind me.
We're gonna go.
You guys were tasked with going to the quarry, to the caves, because they've been run out of there due to goblins, and he had charged you with grabbing goblin ears.
Which, if you think about it, you're getting 4. You would have been getting 4 gold per goblin.
Yeah. I mean, it would have been better if we got 10 gold per goblin, but, like, that's fine.
I mean, now you're getting 6.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. If only your persuasion roll were higher than mine.
My
Give it
bullshit
time.
detector roll.
My insight check.
Okay, in which direction was that again?
Due west from here.
Cool.
About a day's travel.
Okay. Well, what time is it?
Currently, it's just a little past noon.
Okay. So I turn to my new friend.
Hello, new friend.
Hello, new friend. I never got your name. What's your name?
My name is Arnith.
Oh.
And I'm going to call you Birdie because of your bright colors.
I mean, it's not the worst thing I've been called.
What's the worst thing?
You know, I think I need a couple more drinks. So, it's midday.
It is.
And it's about a day's travel.
It is.
I think it would make more sense to wait. Yeah. And then set out in the morning at dawn.
Or we could set out at night and reach it by the morning.
I mean, if you want to camp in the wilderness in the dark with goblins everywhere.
As you two are having this conversation, the other half-orc, a muddy green-skinned half-orc with messy hair pulled up in a man bun, saunters in requesting food and drink as well. Are you going to sit near them, or are you going to sit kind of away from them?
I'm going to sit near them, but facing away from them.
Okay, so you're going to do the tactical eavesdropping where you're kind of sitting back with your back to them.
Tactical eavesdropping.
Tactical eavesdropping. Go ahead and give me a perception roll. So on your character sheet, if you click on perception, it will roll it automatically for
An
you.
orc bun. Oh my god.
An orc bun. Yes. All right. You guys aren't particularly being necessarily quiet, are you? Just having a conversation normally?
Yeah.
I'm just talking
Okay.
like a regular guy.
Like a regular old elf guy. Nothing to see here. I'm a perfectly normal guy. All right, so you overhear the conversation about them heading out somewhere about a day's travel to the west. You catch that conversation. Are you guys discussing the amount of money that you're getting paid or anything else like that?
I'm still upset about the fact that we couldn't get 5 gold per year. So I'm lamenting about it.
Sad face, Yennefer.
I really feel like because we don't know what's there.
It's the wistful sigh of a man who will never know what 5 gold per ear is like.
Yes.
All right. So yeah, you hear this conversation between this rather audaciously dressed elven figure and another half-orc, gray of skin, mostly gray of skin, thick fluffy beard, freckles, odd on a half-orc, but not too strange, I guess. Undercut pulled back into a low hawk over their head, into a braid in the back. Dressed in wooden colors, greens and browns and things like that.
Just generally handsome.
Generally handsome.
By standards of a half-orc. Not saying you're into that, but he is a rather handsome guy.
Well, as Gillett is actually a little less trustworthy of, general outsiders, he'll be trying to get Arnath's attention first.
With your back to them, going over your shoulder.
I turn and say, hey.
Just over his shoulder. Yo.
Yeah. Hey.
Give him the secret, orc wink.
It's the official orc handshake. It's taught to all the young half-orcs.
Wouldn't an orc handshake just be pouring beer on an elf?
Wow. I don't like where this is going.
You know what? Do it.
Punching one.
Just try. Punching one.
Finding a smaller creature and punching it.
It's okay. Statistics prove the elf's probably a racist anyway.
Ooh.
Yikes. Well, they do keep to their own.
Deny it, Jack. Deny it, because you can't.
We're xenophobic, we're not racist.
Elven stereotypes exist for a reason. Is that what it is?
I don't appreciate this.
All right, so the muddy green colored elf or half orc, turns around and is saying to Arnath, "Hey."
And
Arnath is gonna give him this confused look, and he's gonna be like, "What?"
I'm sorry. Do I know you?
Yeah, and I'm gonna turn around and be like, "Hi, can I help you?"
Well, I ignored the confetti and continue talking to the half-orc.
So far we've been compared to a bird and to confetti.
Oh.
And, of course, your own words, a disaster.
It'll become more apparent as the campaign goes on.
He just stumbled into a clothier's and walked out with whatever fit.
I mean, if you got the gold.
Why not, right?
I suppose.
I ain't got time to wait around for shit that, matches. It just doesn't fit.
I have shit to do. I have
Who has
loot
time
to
for all of this? This is nonsense. All right. So they're trying hard to get your attention.
Well, I say, hey, if you're having trouble with this new assignment, because I saw them at the, he saw them at the.
You absolutely did.
Yeah. I can cut you in on my assignment of trying to find the cause of swampy noises.
Spooky noises from the swamp.
It's spooky noises from the swamp.
Please help.
Let's go check it out, gang. Okay, Scoob.
Jinkies. Okay.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say that maybe there's some monster. So yes, I will happily help you. I don't know about my bird friend here.
I have a name. It's Yenfir. Thank you. Thank you, friend. What's your name?
Gillet.
And I turn to Gillet. Gillet!
Like kill it.
Or Gullet. Nice. Nice to meet you. So, what was your compensation for your assignment?
Yenfir's in it for the money, folks. Just so you know.
Yeah!
It's all about that.
It's all about them Benjamins.
It's all about that gold minted. Yeah, it just doesn't roll off the tongue that way.
No.
All about the coin, Cap. All about the coin.
All about the cha-ching. So, you were asked a question. How much are you being compensated for your troubles?
Instead of directly answering the question, I'll instead go with, I'll be able to pay each of you 8 gold for coming with and helping out.
Well, I can't do math, so that sounds great.
My friend.
That's the
My
best answer
beautiful,
ever.
Fluffy bearded friend, please. Let me negotiate.
Because it worked
Yeah,
out
we
so
saw how
well
well that worked out last time.
Right.
Don't you fucking sass me.
I will sass you,
8
Dick. I'm
gold.
gonna sass you the entire time. What are you gonna do about it?
I love you.
I know.
And this is why I love my
What
players, because they love each other. We're just all love.
We're all love here.
An occasional
I keep laughing,
finger
and
of
it keeps fogging my glasses because of this mask.
But you're in character, so that's what's important.
So what if, say, I don't know, there's a basilisk in the swamp, or a dragon.
Then we'll kill it.
I just feel like 8 gold is kind of a rip off. Be honest. I mean, we're talented. Oh, well, I don't know about my friend here, but I'm very talented. I come from the College of Swords. You may have heard of us. We're very skilled blade.
May have heard of this. We're kind of a big deal.
No.
Kind of a big deal.
Kind of a big deal.
So, I mean, you'd be remiss not to have me along. But not for 8 gold. Sorry.
6 gold.
Arnith is new to negotiating, isn't he?
Yeah.
That was our intelligence score here.
I can just imagine. I
wanna know
Yenfir
too.
looking at Arnith, going, "Wait.
Huh?
6, 8. See the difference? There's more here than there is here."
Me piling up pieces of gold. Okay, so if I have 8 pieces
See,
of
if I
gold,
have 8 and you take away 2, that's 6. See how it's less then?
I just look at Arnett like, you know what I said?
But it's like the QVC. This deal's only good now and for the next 5 minutes. So you better act fast.
Minutes. Arnett, I know you and your kind are, you want to be nice. You want to help each other.
Is that it?
Or whatever. But here, we have to make a living. And we have to get paid fairly for our time. Don't you agree?
I suppose I do agree.
8 gold or 6 gold is not enough.
7
when you say
gold.
4. This is when you say 4. Just keep going lower.
Wait, it was like a question. It wasn't even like a statement. Arnett was like, 7 gold?
So, all right. To settle this fairly, I think we should see how much you're getting compensated, and we just split it 3 ways. You can't lose then. Everybody knows we're getting paid fairly, and we make friends, and then we kill basilisks or dragons or whatever is in the swamp, and then we go home. What do you say?
If I make it 9, will you promise not to trip me on the way to whatever monster this might be?
I mean...
You're right, he does look like a
I will
tripper.
not do it on purpose right away.
I will not do it on purpose right away. It's a good statement. It's solid.
I can't promise that you won't fall, but I will promise that I may not be the cause of it.
If you fall, I will catch you.
And be waiting.
I just look at
All
him
right.
like,
Annalise, give me another survival
What?
check, please.
is happening?
Okay.
Excellent.
Okay then.
You're getting near the edge of that 2-hour mark before you want to head back, and it's still, well, I say 2 hour. You're getting close to the edge of that halfway mark where you want to start heading back toward town. When you notice something kind of in the side of the woods that it shouldn't be there. It's not really that it was exposed. It was just hidden and then revealed, but not put back the way it should be.
Okay.
You see what looks to be a flat piece of wood, and it has like holes in it, and it has had like twigs and other things kind of stuck into it to make sort of a camouflage out of it. And it's partly shifted, and that's what made you notice it. It's covering what is currently an empty, like, dugout. It's about close to about 7 feet long, and it's only maybe 3 foot deep, and it's kind of worn smooth like a bowl. You can see that there are tracks leading up to it. They're not fresh, they're kind of old, but tracks leading up to it, and you can see the imprint where someone has lain in this dirt as though they were waiting for something.
Okay. Can I follow the tracks?
You can, but that would put you further away because they are going north even further, but into the woods this time.
Okay.
Like they're running parallel to the road itself. But
she's going
in the
to.
woods.
She's going to pull out her hempen rope, and she's going to cut off about an inch of it, and untwist it, and then take one of those small strands of the untwisted rope, and she's going to tie it to a branch.
Okay, making a mark, but something small that only you would know.
Yeah.
All right. You make note of where it is.
Yeah, and she'll just kind of like cut her thumb to color it just a little bit so that she can see it.
Okay.
But not that it would be super obvious.
Right. You're not making a big pink spray paint on the side of a tree.
No. It's really subtle, and she would only see it, like, they're only going to see it if they're looking for it again.
Okay. Gotcha.
And unless they know it's there, they're not really going to be looking for it.
You're obscuring it, making it very hard to notice, right?
Yeah.
All right. Go ahead and give me one more survival check, please.
Sure. I've got
Nat 20. Good job. Yeah, you obscure it in such a way that only you can see it, and it's going to take someone with really keen senses to notice what you've done. You can spot it from a pretty good distance because you know what to look for. All right, so you have you've marked the tree, and now you're heading back in. You're looking at the sun and where it's positioned at in the sky, and again, you're running north, so it's setting over on the western side. You can tell that you're going to make it back, but the crickets will be stirred pretty good by the time you get back there.
Okay.
And so you head back toward town. Yenfir, Gillett, and Arneth, have you come to an agreement as far as the price of admission to this adventure that you're going on, or the recompense that you'll be receiving?
I came to it immediately.
Well,
you said count. 6. You're correct. You did come to it immediately.
Yes.
No, I agreed to 8.
Oh. Is that where you stood at 8?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yenfir would get 6.
Oh, is that what the deal was? It was you get 8, Yenfir gets 6, because you're pretty sure they're going to spend the entire trip complaining about the swamp. It's in my shoes. All right. You look outside and you notice, without realizing it, that quite a bit of time has passed. You've probably been sitting there having this discussion, a chuckle at one another and over drinks and everything else like that, that it's not super late, like the sun isn't setting at all, but you do notice that most of the mid-afternoon patrons have filtered out, and it's pretty much just the 3 of you in here, along with, of course, the staff that works there. But
okay.
What are your plans?
Did we come to a decision on when we were leaving?
Well, I propose that we leave in the morning, but you want to camp in the forest.
I love camping.
With goblins and gods knows what else. So...
Lots of bugs.
I mean, bugs are fine. I can kill bugs.
Bugs, snakes, spiders, whatever.
Yeah.
Arneth's like, yeah, no, all the things I love.
Yeah.
I love those. I love snakes. So.
All right. Not being insistent about it, but you notice that the waitress comes over, the tavern maid, and she kind of gives a little, can I get you anything else, or will that be all for the day?
That'll be all, thank you.
Excellent. On one tab, or will you all be paying separately?
Gillett just offered to pay. Isn't that nice? He's such a good friend. Wow, I'm really looking forward to working with you.
She takes a piece of parchment and she sets it down. The total meal and drinks and everything comes to about 3 silver, all said and done. And so she says, "You can pay up there, or I'll take the money from you. Either way." And she kind of rocks on her heels.
Well, we better get going. I mean, we're losing light, so...
I'll go ahead and pay her,
3.
But as she walks away, I will be glaring at Yenfir and say, 6.
We'll see.
She takes the money, slips it into her apron, and turns around and walks off, and gives kind of a backward glance as she hears you say 6 in a very menacing tone. All right. So, are you guys going to go to the quarry? Are you going to the swamp, or the forest, the blighted forest?
Well, they haven't invited me on their
this is true.
trip,
You have
so
not
I'll
been
be
invited
going
on their
my way to the swamp.
Well, Arnif will ask if Gillette wants to come kill some goblins with them.
What are you doing?
What? Arnif is inviting, and Yenfir's like, wait, what?
I'm inviting our new friend along.
That's great. But don't tell him that we're being paid to do it. Tell him.
Why are you whispering so loudly?
Did you take Arnef to the side? Are you literally standing right in front of Gillett and like kind of stage whispering with him?
And I just kind of shoved Gillett away. Gillett. And I'm hissing.
All right.
Hiss whispering.
You're like giving that, we're in church, you better behave or otherwise I'm going to give you an earful kind of.
Literally.
That thing?
Yes.
All right.
I'm like, just tell him.
I mean, he might say no.
I love the fact that Ardith isn't even whispering. Ardith's like, I don't know.
Might say no.
All you hear is this sibilance over here going, and all of a sudden, you don't know. He might say no.
Quiet down. I'm so sorry. We're handling some business. Just a minute.
Do you need assistance?
You know, we're getting paid. Bear with me here. 1 golden ear. Can you believe that?
Deception check.
So stupid.
I want to see how well you pull this off. Actually, I take that back. Are you going to try to insight it, or are you just going to go with it?
I'm going to deceive.
Okay.
Or try.
Who knows? He might go along with it. All right. So Yenfir tells you that they're being paid 1 gold.
Yes.
Per what? What did you say?
Per ear.
Per ear. They're being paid 1 gold per ear.
Well, then I'll need to be getting a lot of ears.
Notice that Yenfir never said what type of ears, just ears.
Elf ears, half orc ears.
He just starts throwing them down. And he's like,
"Those look like my people's ears. What have you done?"
You're all just looking like Van Gogh.
Oh my god.
Better question is, what's he going to do with those ears?
I would like to know.
Necklace.
As well. I will ask
It's an artisan's guild. It is an artisan's guild. You never know. He's going to make small coin purses out of them. just small, the finest goblin ear coin purses ever. Just bunches of them.
One of those. Sweet. I'll put all my gold in there.
Ear belts.
Just stitch them together. He just unrolls them. All right, so
the belt of ears is actually an item in Diablo 3. So
I forgot about that.
I remember that. Yes.
All right. So you all make your way out of the tavern. I take it you're just meandering down the street as best you can.
We're all super drunk.
I am not.
Gillett.
I don't know.
Walking towards you is a tall, thin figure with the setting sun across, or with the midday sun across the back. They're more silhouetted than anything else. You can't really make out the features until they crest that point where they are now blocking the sun instead of just being silhouetted by it. And the familiar straw hair, or straw-like hair with white fading, or gold fading to white at the root, a hawkish nose, thin, gaunt, but tan figure of Marin starts walking towards you. When she sees you in the current company, she gives you a glare and says, "Is this what you do with your time? Drink it away. I knew better than to hire adventurers to do this job. You're a bunch of layabouts. I asked you to do a job. I expect you to get to it. Our farmlands
and 6 eyes are better than 2.
True, but my agreement was with you, not them.
And so it will remain.
Sooner than later, please. Our farmland is getting eaten up by this, whatever it is that's taken over." And she looks at Yennefer and it just kind of wrinkles up her face like, "Oh, what did I just see?" And then turns to look at Arneth and just kind of shakes her head, and she says, and she points one long finger at you two and says, "You're in collusion, aren't you? You're trying to milk me for more than what we have. I'll not pay a penny more than the 30 gold we agreed upon." No.
This woman reminds me a lot of my mother.
Quit laying about, drinking up all the drinks, and get your arse out into the field and take care of the problem. And with that, she shoulders past you and keeps walking towards the tavern. You can hear her muttering to herself as she goes. All sorts, sprouts, brown hands, just constantly just yammering as she makes her way too.
She just needs a massage.
Sure, that's what we'll call it. All right, so
Like, that lady needs to get laid.
There it is.
That's the massage we were talking about.
Needs to get herself a husband, or you know what? She needs to go visit the fucking merchant.
Who is saying
Who's to
this?
say she doesn't have one? You don't know. And he could hate his life right now.
Maybe he's a
He
layabout.
probably does.
You don't know enough. All right, as you're making your way back towards the center of town, coming out of the craftsman hall, now no longer wearing the apron or the gloves, but still wearing the simple shirt or tunic that he had on, and these breeches that are kind of loose around the legs to keep him, able to move about and things like that. You see the trunk of a man known as Barden, and he walks towards you and he sees, Yennefer and Arneth now in the presence of Gillet, and he says, "Do you plan to stay here for the evening and head out in the morning, or are you going to head out now and camp and then make your way the rest of the way?"
Well, to be honest, I was perfectly happy with leaving at dawn. However, I was outvoted. So we're going to be leaving now.
He looks and he points one big, meaty finger at Gillet and says, "I see you found a friend.
Of sorts.
Not a bad idea, to be honest with you. Dangerous things, those goblins. Although that won't change our deal. We struck an accord." And I'm slipping back and forth between the voices.
Oh no! It's happening.
He's going into a loop. We struck an accord. Are we still in agreement?
Absolutely. Not to worry.
Excellent. And then he makes his way past, and you can see he's heading toward the tavern as well. Annalise, you start to make it back into town. The trip back, actually, because you weren't tracking on your way back, actually took you a lot less time than you thought it would. You come into the north side of town, and you can see our new 3 musketeers, more like 3 amigos, because they're kind of goofy. Anyways, you see them kind of standing in the center of town. looking like they're going to make their way toward the inn to stay the night. Or are you guys heading out for the night? I forgot.
Oh, I'm heading to camp out near the swamp.
All right.
Yeah, we're going.
All right.
I guess.
The swamp is to the... that's why...
Southeast?
Yes. That's why, kids, we always write our stuff down in our nice journals, because when you get old, you forget shit.
Things.
Things start to go. All right. Yes. Yes, it is to the southeast. Thank you. So you are heading in the opposite direction. The center of town is west of where you were. Unless you're going to go south on the road and then take off through the farmland.
That was the plan.
Okay. You see them turn on their heels and start to head toward the south along the road, Annalise. They look as though they're striking out on something of some import.
We're off to see the wizard.
She's going to glance up at the sun, look at them just leaving, glance back to where she came, and it's just like, it took them that long to figure out what the hell to do?
And to their credit, you can hear them, kind of arguing. They're both picking on the elf, just so you know.
I take it in stride.
It's a good sort of ribbing.
Good.
Her immediate thought, not my problem.
Not her circus, not her monkeys.
Not my circus, not my monkeys.
All right.
And she's actually going to head to the tavern.
Okay. Okay, so you're going to head to the tavern down here?
Yeah.
Okay.
She's going to head to the braying.
Yeah, the braying blowhard. All right.
Braying blowhard.
Yep. So you start making your way. A bit ahead of you, walking towards it, is I just said his name, and now Barden. Excuse me. You see Barden heading off ahead of you, making his way toward the tavern. He looks to be, relaxed for the troubles that are going on. So you make your way into the tavern, and you see that Barden has taken a seat with the very hawkish and tall looking Marin. And they are having I wouldn't say heated, but they're having a very tense conversation.
And what are they saying?
Give me a perception check.
Okay. She's also taken her mask up as I have just now.
Her glasses
and
were
set it in her
too.
pocket. She doesn't wear glasses. Lucky her. I unfortunately need to wear glasses if I want to be able to see anything.
I know the feels. I'm right there with you.
But no, she takes it off because she's going to eat and drink, and she can't eat and drink with it on.
That is true. You can hear them talking about the band of adventurers, more like the trio of adventurers. Marin has her suspicions that they may not be up to the job of figuring out what is blighting the forest and turning it into marshland. And Barden, kind of true to his nature, which is kind of not really necessarily mellow, but a more confidence in people than what she has, says, I'm pretty sure that they can take care of the goblin problem. And they seem to be talking, despite their earlier argument at the mayoral office, they seem to be not necessarily chums, but they seem to be getting along a lot better than what they were earlier in the day.
She'll sit down near them at the bar.
All right.
Order herself some food and a drink.
All right. The waitress that served the other three earlier comes by and says, she tells you what they have on tap, or what they have on for the menu. Again, it's simple roast with potatoes, or they have meat pies to serve, and of course they have ale, wines. They have a couple of different variants of wine. Oddly enough, no wizards of wine. And they
thank God.
tired of grape crush or grape mash and dragon crush.
Yeah.
So you order your meal, and she comes and sits it down. At that point in time, you hear that shrewish voice from behind you. Aren't you one of those that we hired to take care of the problems for us?
Annalise glances over her shoulder and says, "You didn't pay me shit."
Well, I asked you to come talk to me afterwards. And if I remember correctly, you never showed.
No, see, you said that to the group, and you didn't specifically address me. So, no, you didn't order me to do anything.
Well, you're going to miss out on the pay then. It looks like that other fella, the one with the gray skin. He took up the job. He and the other two are heading out south now to figure out what's blighting the swamp. I could offer you the pay as well. First one of you that returns gets the payment.
Now, see, that's not very charitable of you, no, is it?
It's not about charity.
You should really consider keeping your contracts, done correctly with the people you originally contract them with, or else people are going to start calling you the Merchants Guild.
With that, you see her sneer at you. She says, "I'll honor the contract. If they return first, they get the money. If you return first, with the problem solved, then it looks like you will get the payment. That seems fair to me. My only qualm is that the problem can be taken care of before it overruns our farms and leaves us destitute with nothing to eat."
If you were so worried about their competence, why did you give them the job?
Because they're better suited for it than a farmer with a hoe, or a scythe.
Then maybe you should trust them to do the damn job and let me eat.
I didn't say I don't trust them. I just want it taken care of quickly. And you seem more than capable of handling the issue.
Oh, I am, but see, I'm currently contracted elsewhere.
Let me guess, that pompous-ass Carter Willis is taking it to task to put you to doing some menial job that he's probably set up on his own. It's all a front. He wants to take power, so he makes sure that only the right caravans get through, leaving us without the goods that we want. I tell you, he's set it up. He probably runs the bandits.
Really?
Of course.
You should, and she'll gesture to the seat next to her, and she says, "Tell me more. Tell me more about your suspicions that this man is doing all of this underhandedly and is orchestrating this entire thing."
She says, I'm getting feedback. I don't know if that's from me or if somebody has Twitch on. Yeah. That's okay. She kind of stops for a second, and she says, I'll keep my seat right here, but I'll tell you all I know. We didn't have a problem until Carter Wilson and his caravan started coming through here on a regular basis. They used to stop by the old Rolling Inn. There's a way station along the way, and we had the farmlands. The next thing you know, we start getting a little bit of fame due to the fact that we have a large traveling route through here. The way station becomes famous, and the next thing you know, the merchant guilds roll in. Everything was fine for a long time, and then all of a sudden, we start seeing more and more caravans being attacked. And he says that they're getting the best of the stuff off of the caravans and letting those that don't have much come through. But I'll wager that he's keeping the best of it, making a larger profit off of what he can sell. And it makes sense if you think about it. He drives up the prices on the trades goods by having caravans having to pay more for mercenaries. He drives up the wages to help pay, or the cost of things to help pay for those things. He ends up making more money than what he had before. And trust me, he had a lot of money before.
That sounds like typical business dealing to me. However, I will look into that.
Sounds
underhanded. I'm not so foolish as to think that somebody who owns a merchant's guild is completely clean.
Dirtier than the path you trod on to get into town.
We'll just have to see.
So I take it you're going to decline my offer.
Oh, I'm not dealing with your swamp. However, if I find all these missing materials for you, that's another story. I want to finish this first. I found some very, solid evidence while I was out today. And I would like to pursue that matter first. If they still haven't dealt with your problem by the time I get back, well, then I suppose my next stop is venturing into the wastes.
If they're unable to complete the job, I'll be seeing you at the market then. And she gives you a nod and then turns back to Barden, who's just sitting there kind of, not really scowling, but just kind of a no-nonsense look on his face, his arms crossed over his chest. All right, you three miscreants who are traveling off on your own. The farmland is not very far away. As a matter of fact, you start to see some of it come up even before the sun is set. And as you're walking, you can see that it's, small houses, large farmlands, separated by stone walls, marking the territory for each farmer's location. The crops are generally those that you would find. There's wheat, corn, there's some type of bean that's there. They all seem to be growing their own particular stock. Some of them are mixed farms where they grow tomatoes and greens and things like that. But it's your typical farmland. You can see the forest ahead of you in the distance. It looks like it's probably still quite kind of far away from the actual farms, but you can make out just at the edge of it trees that are no longer green and lush with life, and it's making like a spear point, like the first line of trees, and then you can kind of make out behind it. It kind of spreads out. As you get closer, you start to smell the wonderful smells of fetid water and the brackish smell of swamp, and all those wonderful decay and wonderful smells of rot and decay that come along with plant life. The plant life in a swamp being waterlogged and rotting. This seems to be a relatively new development. Like, this was fine, and it's starting to spread. As you crest the rise over, a short rise over, you look down upon the edge of the farmland that you're standing next to, that butts up next to the forest, and you can see that the ground right up into the stone wall is got that fetid smell, and it looks like water is rising up. The ground is all damp and spongy looking from where you're standing. As you stand there and look at it, the sun is setting in the sky now. The last vestiges of light are starting to seep out of the day, and you know that you'd probably either travel into the swamp, you might get lost at night, or not make your way, or get eaten by something or bitten by a lot of things. But you can make camp just outside of this open area, in this open area of the farmland. Or you can make it just inside of the natural forest that's there outside of the farmland. What say you, party?
Okay. So.
Arneth is going to suggest that they make camp somewhere just a little bit higher up, because it'll probably get cold.
Okay. The land that you're in is mostly flat. It's kind of rolling ground. It's not completely flat, but there's not really any hills or anything that you can climb into.
Okay. And the forested area, like, that's not blighted. Mm-hmm. It's just basically all one level.
Yeah. I mean, it's like I said, it's rolling ground, but it's mostly flat. Okay. There's the spot where the blight has crept into. You would probably say it's the point of the spear is probably about 20 feet across. So only 20 foot of this forest, and the forest is really big. It's a pretty big forest.
Okay. And there's no, like, well, I guess you already said that. Okay.
What's that?
I was like, well, there's no stony areas or anything that's, like, not.
No, I mean, not really. Not any rock outcroppings. I mean, you can try to knock on one of the farmer's door and see if they'll put you up for the evening, but 2 half-orcs and an elf.
All right. Well, I'd rather camp somewhere where we have a little bit of cover, just in case it gets cold.
Okay.
So I'm going to suggest that we camp kind of at the edge of the...
Like just inside of the natural forest tree line?
Yeah. Not deep enough where we're going to get eaten by wolves.
Just inside the tree line then, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you set up camp and bed down for the night. I'll go ahead and get watches from everybody. First, second, and third, or if you really want to push it, you can do a first and just 2 watches.
Oh, watches? Okay.
Yes. Not Rolex, but like, who's going to watch?
I'll watch.
All right. First, second, or third?
I can try second and third.
I think
I won't allow that.
All right. So,
kind not sleep, or?
Well, I mean, taking watch, you still get the benefit of a long rest, as long as nothing occurs, because you're not doing anything. You're just sitting there watching, making sure nothing creeps up on you.
I'll do first.
Okay. So then we'll have Gillett, you want second, and then we'll have Arneth as third. All right.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to take a quick break. I'd like to take 5 minutes just so I can get up and get some more water and go to the restroom and everything. We are doing a giveaway. When we hit 25 followers on Twitch, I have a Steam key to give away.
Yeehaw.
Ooh.
Also,
Yes.
Cap, we are experiencing a little bit of lag.
All right. I will have to talk and see what I can do about that. Is it super bad? Super bad laggy? Is it the stutter stop lag, or is it just like lag?
Yeah, it's a stutter stop on my end for the audio, but I don't know for the Twitch stream. It looks pretty bad actually right now.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been the stutter stop for me as well.
All right.
So we might have to tweak
All right. Give me just 1 second here. All right.
How long is session, Cap?
It runs until 9, so we have about an hour and 15 minutes left.
Okay.
Alrighty.
And I have to give away Life is Strange, the complete seasons, episode 1 through 5 for Steam, if we can hit 25 followers on Twitch. So get some followers. And there's a bigger Patreon giveaway once we hit a number there. And my beautiful assistant, who is home watching over everything for me, will be talking more about that. But I will say this much. They have to deal with books. Specifically, these books. Not all of them at once. But I do have a couple of official D&D books to give away when we hit our Patreon mark. So again, we're going to take about 5-10 minutes, and then we'll be back and we'll pick up from there, and then we'll be ending soon. So I will see you all in just a few minutes.
Oh, yes. What I can do to get better. I'm talking about I mean, I could run the stuff. I can look at all producer. It's just so hard to run.
All right.
I will say on the record that I now have Girl from Ipanema stuck in my head.
That's what I should put on now. From now on, whenever I go offline, is just switch that over to where it plays.
Or intermission.
Do, 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 do. Yeah, my kilobits per second is looking a lot better since I connected my to that other device.
And now the song is in my head.
It's
Thank you.
spreads
Hey,
like
it's
lice.
superpower, actually.
It spreads like lice in elementary school. That wasn't appropriate. That was a little gross. All right.
Could have been gross.
While we're waiting for everybody to get back, I would like to say that I am broadcasting live, and I will be broadcasting live every Monday from Lucky Dice Cafe, who I am partnered with to do this and bring this to you. They are sponsoring me and giving me the space to do this in. I will be running a live campaign from 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. every Monday, right before the show, at Lucky Dice Cafe in Huntsville, Alabama on South Memorial Parkway. So drop by and say hi. And again, if you would like to, you need to stop by the game store. If you're in Huntsville, it's fantastic. It's a really great place. They have lots of games. They're always got something going on. And again, like I said, I'll be running a game in the Monday afternoons from 3 till 6, and then going live with Dire Bear Adventuring Company. Please make sure to visit our Patreon. Some really neat things. We have some very talented artists, 2 of which are playing. Yenfear and Arneth are both our featured artists. And at the art level, you can join the Dire Bear Adventuring Company and get a bust of your character. And go check it out, because I don't remember all the rewards, because like I said earlier, I'm old. That's the reason I write things down.
Rewards you can earn.
So there we go. And on top of having fantastic artists, we have in our midst playing Annalise is our cosplaying expert. Maddie has her own cosplay store, and she will actually, we have a Patreon tier for cosplay as well. So if you would like to have some neat costumes to go to your next con, make sure you hit them up. Again, we have that as a Patreon level, and each one of our artists and our cosplay artists have their own sites, and we have links to their sites and everything else like that. So go check them out. Their art is fantastic. As a matter of fact, the picture that you see there of Chief is drawn by Chief. That is actually a picture of their other character that they play in another campaign that I'm running, where they are playing an Air Ganassi by the name of Ty. And there's a whole lot of stuff going on there. As well, on top of that, we also have a giveaway. If we hit 25 followers on Twitch, I am going to give away a Steam key for Life is Strange, the complete. It is PC only. It's a Steam key. Sorry, guys, for all you PS4 players out there, because I know there are some of you. But in the future, I will be looking to give away some of those things as well. Anyways, when we last left off, before the little break we had, Party B was the party team was making their camp outside of the forest, while Annalise was going to investigate bandits to the north. Dawn breaks the next day. Your night passed uneventful. Other than crickets and just wildlife, nothing happened at all. It was very uneventful. So boring you almost dozed off. until about the early morning. As the fog starts to, or some of the mist that's laying low on the ground starts to clear, I need all of the party that are near the forest to give me a perception check, please. Annalise, I take it you're going to set north again? Okay.
Yes, sir.
As I catch you mid-bite. All right. Arneth.
I made popcorn.
Excellent. You're going to watch this train wreck with popcorn. Arneth, to the...
Oh, yeah.
Coming out of the forest, out of the blighted area, again, smelling of swamp, fetid water, decaying plant material.
Delicious.
You hear, far off in the distance, the sound of chanting?
Yodeling.
Yeah, yes. Lots of chanting. It's one voice. It's clear and loud, but even you can't really make it out because it seems like you're just too far away from it to really catch what it's saying. On top of that, it seems to be in a strange language. What languages do you speak, Arneth?
Common, Orc, Elvish, and the kitty language.
Kamat. All right.
Kamat.
All right. So yeah, you hear
Did you
some
say a kitty language?
kitty.
Yeah.
The Kamat have their own language. It is called Kamat.
Ah,
Hence
kitty
the
language.
kitty
Yes,
language.
I also speak kitty language.
You also speak kitty language. You also speak Kamat. Kitty
I
language.
also speak
So
actual
disrespectful. So disrespectful. You also speak what?
Actual cat.
You just sit there meow.
Meow, meow.
Yeah, like what? You speak whale?
Talk with animals. Yeah, I can.
Is it like Dory speaks well though? It's just a lot of long vowels. All right, Annalise, you make your way north again, easily finding the path back to where you had tied off the branch. I need you to give me a perception check, please. The camouflage part that you found last night, it's no longer as obvious. It is hidden. As though it were moving.
I'm going to circle around behind it.
All right, give me a stealth check, please. All right, you sneak off into the woods. You're getting, I would say, probably about 20 feet from where the dugout is and the little hidey hole. When you step your foot down and there's a loud beneath your foot as a branch snaps underneath, a twig snaps underneath your foot. From about 20 feet in front of you, you hear, "Did you hear that? Did I hear what? Did you hear that? I think there's somebody out there. Shh. Don't give away our position." Are you going to continue to advance forward?
Yeah.
All right. Give me another stealth check.
I ain't even better than the first one.
You're walking along and you're closing the gap. You're about 10 feet from them. And your coat, the long highwayman coat that you wear, gets snagged on a piece of branch that's broken off. It pulls at you enough to where you're trying to sneak forward and you kind of and you step back and land against the tree. You step on some dry leaves and trying to catch yourself, making a nice crunchy, crinkly sound underneath your feet. It's at this point that the blind, that the dugout, the part of it flips over, and two large, very burly men leap forward and look at you. What are you doing here?
I'm just going for a stroll.
He kind of gives you a look for a second. Huh. It looks like you strolled in the wrong forest. And I would love for you to roll for initiative.
Okay. No.
Hold on just 1 second before you do, though.
Mm-hmm.
Because I can't move one individual player. You all get to watch and see.
Be safe.
All right. Tonight's map is brought to you by 2 Minute Tabletop. They make custom maps for tabletop games, for Roll20, for anything else like that. Please go check them out. Again, the site is 2 Minute Tabletop. Let me make sure that I've got that correct because I'm horrible, again, with my memory thing. 2minutetabletop.com is the site. They have a link to the Patreon. He has a lot of really awesome maps. This is one of them, and it fit right into Roll20. All I had to do was just size it up, and boom, there it goes. And as you can tell, it's lovely artwork, and you can put lots of tokens on there. Slide yourself back towards the bottom edge of the map, if you would, please.
Real quick, is that the number 2 or TWO?
Thank you very much for asking. It is the number 2, minutetabletop.com. All right, so we're going to slide Annalise back down here. You're going to be in the forest. And again, keeping my nice, orderly All right. Let me get our turn order up. And we can roll for initiative. Did that not put my other guy down there, or did he disappear? Perfect.
Oh, there's a guy off to the far left.
Oh, is that where he's at?
Yeah.
We'll just remove him. He doesn't get to live in this world.
Harsh.
I'm a cruel taskmaster, I'll tell you. I warned you. Kind of a jerk. All right. As it doesn't do anything that I asked it to do, because that's the kind of day it's going to have with me.
It's a Monday.
Really? Bear with me just one moment as I have technical difficulties with this stupid darn. Forget it. I'll just do this. All right. All right, so they told you that you have taken a walk in the wrong forest, and they are going to set upon you. And it is going to be this one's turn first, and he moves up to you at 5 feet adjustment to your face. And he is going to try to strike you with a scimitar as he brandishes this. It looks like a scimitar, but the thing looks like it has seen all of the better days. Not just some of them, all of the better days. It is covered with nicks and scratches. It looks like it hasn't been cleaned in forever. As I'm going to try to roll a 20, not a 30. He will not hit with a 6. And the other one moves up and says, "Let me show you how it's done." And then he is going to move up to you as well. And try the same thing. And does a 20 hit your armor class?
That'll hit.
All right. And you take a whopping 2 points of damage.
Oh my.
Yes, well, I can't say all the rolls are fantastic.
God.
And it is now your turn.
Okay. She's going to, from her hip, hidden by her jacket, she's going to pull out this bladed saw that's attached to a curved handle. And she's going to heft it in her hand, pull back, and just swing down with it with one hand against the bandit that is directly in front of her.
All right.
As she does so, she scrapes her hand with it first and imbues it with her own blood.
Mm.
And it crackles with lightning.
All righty then.
Make sure I've got it all set up. I do. 18 to hit.
That will hit.
For a total of 13 damage.
You snap this thing into play, slide it across your hand as it starts to crackle with energy. You bring it straight down on top of him. You hit him like in the clavicle and cleave down, catching a moment on the bone before you tear it through and away. The wound itself is crackling with electricity, and you watch as his eyes go from the kind of gray blue color that they were to a glassy look, and he just kind of looks and slumps down and hits the dirt. And with one shot, ladies and gentlemen, has felled this poor thing.
He'll turn and look at the other one and be like, so, about being in the wrong set of woods.
Go ahead and roll and give me an intimidation check. He
Wow.
looks at you for a second, looks down at the dead body, and then turns to run. You do get an attack of opportunity if you'd like to take it.
Oh, she's gonna take it.
All right, roll to hit.
No.
You and your you try to swing at him, but the tear that's carrying him on his feet is much greater than what you can do. And he disappears off into the distance somewhere. And you look down at the dead body at your feet. And clearly
What's he carrying?
picked the wrong neighborhood.
What's he carrying on his body?
He's carrying a scimitar, some leather armor that he's wearing, which seems to be more piecemeal together than anything else like that. And he has a pouch on him. It's got about three silver. It's got 3 silver and 8 copper in it. And
She's taking that.
All right, and he's got a wineskin on him that feels like it's about half full.
Yeah, she'll take that too.
All right.
Does he have any sort of identifying things as to like what he's part of?
Give me an investigation check and let's see. Not that you can make out. If he is wearing something, you're not familiar with it.
Okay. Fucking 2 1s in a row. God damn it.
At least get him out of the way now. Get them all done.
Hope so.
All right. Are you going to continue down the path? Or are you gonna go back to town?
She's gonna follow this guy's tracks.
Give me a survival check.
Down the path. Sure.
All right. You watch where his tracks go, and that's when you come to an alarming realization. There wasn't just 2 of them. Matter of fact, the number that you've come across, you might be able to take them all, but more than likely you'll be overwhelmed.
How many?
As best you can make out, there seem to be 18 different sets of prints.
She's gonna head back to camp or back to town.
All right. You make your way back into town. All right, team. You have the swamp. You have the fetid swamp in front of you. What say you, team?
Well, I'm going to point out the odd chanting off in the distance.
All right.
You point out
the odd singing.
You point it out, and so you say, "Hey, I hear odd noises in the distance. It sounds like someone's chanting."
Someone is singing really badly.
We'll have to fix that.
All right.
I'm kind of listening for this weird chanting.
Give me a perception check. Let's see if you can hear it.
I'm looking at him skeptically because I don't have a lot of faith in his intelligence.
What do your elf ears hear?
Gillett, you hear the birds and other animals in the forest around you, but that's about it. Yennefer, yes. Carried on the breeze every once in a while, you do hear the sound of chanting. You're not sure what it is or who's making the sound, but you do hear it. What languages do you speak again?
Me?
Yes, you.
Me? Common and Elvish.
That's it. Common and Elvish.
That's it. An animal. Oh, big animals. Okay. Are there birds around?
Yeah, there's probably a few.
Okay. I'm going to look around, see if there's anything coming from the direction that I think the chanting is coming from. And I'd like to use Speak with Animals.
All right. You can definitely use Speak with Animals. Go ahead and, first of all, let's see if we can find one. So give me a nature check.
Nature? Oh, no. This is... Okay.
All right.
What even are birds? I don't know.
These things, they have wings. You're over there trying to talk to a chicken, only to find out that it's like a weather vane. This chicken's not talking back. All right.
I don't know. Usually they're gossips. That is just...
All right. You hear some, but you can't seem to pinpoint which tree they're in or which branch they're on. It seems like you hear one over here and you turn your head and it's not there, or it's flown away or something like that. So.
Fair enough. Well.
All right.
I turn to Arnith and I turn to Gillet. And I just kind of shrug. What direction do you think it's coming from?
You want to give me another perception check? You can kind of see. You can kind of try to tell which way it's coming from.
Who, me?
All of us, I imagine.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
Yes. All right. Good rolls. Arnith, you can tell that from where you're coming at, it's coming from deeper inside of the blighted area. It's going to be more to your southeast, or more to your south than southeast, but it's definitely coming from that direction.
He's going to do like a finger gun point to where it's coming from.
Right over there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty much.
I like it.
Okay. Well, let's go find the source of the creepy chanting, shall we?
Nothing bad could ever come from this.
No, absolutely not.
All right, so you tread your way into the blighted area. At first, it's easy going. You're moving. The ground is soft and spongy, and your boots every once in a while kind of stick into the mud a little bit. You're having to pull your feet out. It becomes more of a trudge than a walk as you clomp through the mud. The forest here, the trees in this area seem to have aged, like the life is being drained out of them. They're now mostly gray remnants of a thing that used to be a tree, covered in peat moss. Several of them have been felled, just toppling under their own weight as their root systems were loosed by the water that's infringing on their area. Every once in a while, you'll see dry clumps of ground that were either rocks or just a raised area. But most everything is covered in a shallow, I would say it's probably just between your ankle and your calf muscle, that deep. And like I said, it becomes laborious to walk through this. It becomes quite difficult, even with Arnith pointing out which way to go. Even though it's hard to walk through, it's only tiring on your muscles. It doesn't seem to be slowing you down any. Let's see here. I need your passive perceptions for all three of you, please. On your character sheet, just underneath your ability scores, there's a rectangular box that says passive wisdom, and in the parentheses says perception.
14 for me.
Okay.
12.
All right. Is Yenfear frozen?
Yeah, sorry, my Discord keeps crashing.
All right.
That?
I need your passive perception, please.
Do I just click perception?
No. Look underneath your ability scores. There's a rectangular box that says passive wisdom, and in parentheses it'll say perception.
Okay.
I think I'm missing a language.
14.
14?
Yeah.
Excellent. All right. You get the sense that you are not alone out here. There's the sound of birds and life and everything else like that has ceased. There is no bird singing in the trees in this area. And as the swath of the blight that you're walking through seems to grow and widen, it becomes even more still. But again, you get the sense that you're not alone in this, that there's something else that's out here with you.
Great.
Can I like try to see if I notice anything?
You can give me a perception check, yes. Alrighty.
17.
Nice. Really? Okay. All those good rolls I did earlier, yeah, they're all gone. I had I got all of that shit out. As you look around, you spot a dark green, kind of a faded green figure moving between a fallen tree and one of the standing trees. It's a real quick movement, just between there, but enough for you to see it. And then to your right, you see two more, again, darting between, trees and things like that. They're moving. When they move, they go low to the ground, and then they seem to come back up next to the tree.
Really? Well, each time that happens, Arnett is going to motion for the other two to stop, and he's going to point in the direction that he sees the movement.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
To see, he just wants to see if they can see it too. Or
Arnett comes to a quick stop and puts his hands out and then points over to where the figures were seen, signaling that he saw something.
What do you see?
What is it, boy? Timmy fall down the well again?
Speak.
So speak with animal on Arnett.
Sorry, that got me.
So sorry. I'm such a
I'm sorry, Chief's not here right now. Only the giggle fits.
I can't. He's gonna. He's just gonna say what he's getting, what he's saying.
He says what he says.
Yeah.
He says what he tells them what he sees.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Again, he points out that he saw two figures dart from one tree to another, and on the right and on the left, he saw another figure dart from one of the trees down to one of the fallen ones. Real quick, green in color and seems to be
probably smelly.
Probably smelly, is that what you said?
I don't know. I never really covered that in perception.
I know. He's just throwing that in.
All right.
They probably stink.
Yeah.
Are you going to continue forward?
Okay. Arnett, how tall were they? Would you say they're your size? Goblin size? Or...
Taller than you, but not giant.
Okay. Taller than me? Okay, great.
Yeah, I mean, taller than you stature-wise, but not like giants.
Mm-hmm. Okay, fun.
Like, I, in real life, am taller than you in real life.
Yes.
But I am not a giant in real life. Despite my personality.
Which is
still like over the 6 foot range.
Probably closer to 7, but yeah.
Gross. That's not giant? What's giant?
According to the Monsters Manual, bigger than that.
Bigger. Okay.
Bigger than that.
Okay.
Well, I'm going to have to go over and try and figure out what tall, dark, and stinky is.
All right, so you're going to head in the direction that was pointed out?
Yes.
All right. As you are making your way into the forest, or into the swamp towards where that came from, a javelin comes out from in front of you from behind one of the trees and sails almost at you, and it goes over your shoulder and lands with a splash and a thud into the water.
Oh.
Well, excuse me.
Just trying to say hi. Didn't mean for nobody to start throwing javelins at people.
What the fuck? What the fuck?
Is it Voshk?
It is at this point that 3 lizard folk, actually 4.
Are you fucking kidding me?
I kid you not.
You should switch the map up, bro.
Yes, I know I need to, and that is what I'm doing right now. Boop. Welcome to the swamp.
Good. Thank you.
Get
out of my swamp. Where the hell am I?
I don't know. You haven't put your tokens down. Put your tokens somewhere like in this area.
I only see like a fraction of the map. Hold on.
Scroll down.
No, I am, but like it's black.
Now you're not even on the map. There you are. Zoom out. You can find it easily.
Well, I'm zoomed out, but like I can show you what I'm seeing. This is what I'm seeing. It's weird. Having some issues.
Chief, are you seeing it?
It's the same on my end as well. Like the bottom half is there, but the rest of it is just
the rest of it should be black. There should only be a thin strip that you see.
Oh, well, you're just pranking us then. Okay.
No, I'm not. It's called Fog of War.
Your fog. Okay.
Don't you sass me.
I didn't say anything, Cap.
There. This is more of the map. All
Thank
right.
you.
And on that note, I'll throw the turn order up.
Yeehaw.
And promptly not have it turn up. There it goes.
Whoop. Bing bang boom.
All right. Go ahead and click on your token, and then click on initiative in your character sheet for those of you who are new to the character sheet thing. Click on your token first, and then click on initiative.
Yarp.
Excellent.
You half orcs. I'll be here in the back playing the lute.
You gotta do what you do best.
Pan flute you to victory.
Pan flute you to victory.
Noot away.
That's fantastic.
I personally do think I'm missing a language.
Are you missing a language?
Yeah.
Are you going to try to talk to them?
Well, that would be the language that I would add.
Does speak with animal work on lizard folk?
No. They're considered humanoid, so no, unfortunately.
Damn it.
All right.
Okay, I added the language.
I'm not loving this at all.
Are you not?
No.
Why forever not?
Forever not.
It's like you've never fought one before. You don't know they might be friendly. They only throw javelins. They throw javelins to say hello.
I'm sure they do.
That's their form of greeting. Hello, stranger. Javelin. Take this thing that I have made for you.
If you catch it, they will die for you.
Is that the way it works?
Yeah. Lifelong bond.
I like it. I don't think it's going to work, but I like it. The good news is their dexterity is just straight up. Yay, roll poorly, all my lizard folk.
Haha. Get wrecked.
There'll be sound effects later, like the Wilhelm screams.
Oh my, I didn't pick my season.
You should have done that.
I'm so sorry. Well, I will stick with regular attacks then. No spells for me.
Okay. Well, no special spells from you. Arneth, you are up first. You have 2 on the left, 2 on the right. Currently, they have shields, and you see them each holding a javelin.
Well, Arneth is gonna look at Gillette and Yinfer and say, do we want to fight these guys, or should we try to talk?
Super fast, run away!
Talk to them! Just see what happens. I mean, they only threw a fucking javelin at our heads.
Well, they could be scared.
Scared. Okay, go ahead. Guys. I dare you.
It's even better is that they all start sounding like Shrek in common. You start talking to him. This is my swamp.
My swamp.
Okay. Arnith is gonna have his longbow out, but he's gonna kind of he's gonna step out towards the ones on his right and say, "Hey, cut it out!
Cut it out!
We're not trying to fight."
You know, I like it. However, they only speak one language, and it is not one of the ones you have.
Well, technically, I did just add a language.
Lizard folk ain't a language.
Let me guess. They speak Draconic, right?
That is correct.
Guess who the person who speaks Draconic? Guess where she is?
Doing her own thing.
She is not with you people.
She just had to be a strong, independent woman, didn't she?
So Arneth yells out, "Hey, stop it!" And is that what you're going to do?
Yes, and I'm going to point out that I did just add the missing language.
What language did you add?
The one that's going to help me in this situation.
No.
Not Draconic.
Unfortunately.
What language is that, Arnett?
All right. Are you going to take any other action? You yelled at them in common. They don't seem to make any motion to stop or go, oh, our bad.
I'm sorry.
He's gonna fire like a warning shot. All
right, so you're gonna fire close to him but intentionally missing?
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'll allow that. You don't have to worry about rolling to attack. You take a controlled shot and fire it across his nose, across the bow. Any bonus actions or anything else like that?
No.
All right. Next up, Gillett. Diplomacy against lizard folk. I love it. This is, folks, is why I play D&D. All right, what are you going to do, Gillett?
Well, Gillett is feeling particularly offended about the javelin, so he's going to try and throw one of his darts at the one that he believes threw the javelin.
All right, the javelin came from the right side. It was either this one or this one here. What is the range increment on your dart?
Let me go into the details just a moment. $20.60.
All right, so let's see. You're here 5, 10. Excuse me, 1 second. All right, yeah, you could hit them. They would be within range. You could hit either one of them.
All right.
I just gotta go close my door just 1 sec.
That will absolutely hit. You watch as Gillett, who is not as diplomatic as Arneth, takes a dart from his arm and flicks it, and it goes flying through the air and lands with a nice impact right into the shoulder. Go ahead and roll damage, please.
All right.
If you click on the word dart in chat, it'll automatically do it for you.
Oh, in chat. Even better.
Perfect. All right, so it sinks in into the shoulder, finding perch in between the scales on the armor, and you see the tassel from the dart hanging out. The lizard folk just tries to paw at the dart that's embedded in his shoulder now. Did you want to do that to the top or the bottom one?
Let's go with the bottom.
All right. All right, and then next up is going to be Yenfir. You watch as your monk friend flicks a dart and it stabs with some oomph into the shoulder of the thing.
But I say nothing because I don't want him to know I'm impressed. So I'm going to attack this one. I'm going to pull out my rapier.
Okay.
Like a boss.
As you do.
As you do. With a flourish, because I'm a bard. I mean, come on.
So you swish it and then bring the blade up.
Yeah.
All right. Go ahead and you need to move forward to him. So go ahead and make your movement to him. All right, and then that 11 will miss. As you stab into the scaly hide of the lizard folk, but it seems to absorb it, doesn't seem to do anything or even pierce the scales that are on his body. Is that all you're doing?
Let's see. Is that all I'm doing? Yeah, I'll just leave it at that.
All right. The one that's in front of you drops drops the javelin. So it has the shield in this arm. It drops a javelin, reaches back, grabs a club, and as it does so, it swings down as it brings the club out from behind his back.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes.
Oh, no.
What is your armor class?
14.
All right, so he tries to hit you with the club, but you definitely move out of the way. The club smacks into the mud and the water with a splash. And then he follows up and tries to catch you with the shield and hits you with the shield. Sharp blades on the edge of the shield as he jams it forward and hits you with these two sharp pieces. And you will take 7 points of damage as it pierces into you and then withdraws, pulling a little bit of blood back as it does so. And you see him laugh, and the long tongue licks out and licks the blood off of the end of the blades.
And if you do something other than throw darts and fire warning shots, that would be great.
He's so incensed. This one moves up to you, Arneth.
For a hug?
No, unfortunately, it is not for a hug, a warm embrace, unless he wants to do it with the club. You want to hug the club? And he swings the club overhand and tries to hit you with it. Again, you dodge out of the way, kind of spinning in place as it slaps into the mud with a loud thwack. More like a spush. And then he tries to hit you with his shield. And again, you're just too agile for him, and the shield goes right over your shoulder as you duck out of the way of it. And it is now this one's turn. That's as far as he can move.
Really insulted the whole time.
That's as far as he can go. So you get hit with a club. No, you do not. You dodge out of the way of that one. And again, he follows up with a shield strike. But man, Arneth is on the balls of his feet, bouncing left and right, ducking and weaving. And
yelling, I don't want to kill you.
I don't want to have to shoot you in the head with my bow at point blank range, which would not be a good idea. All right,
please shoot them in the head with your bow at point blank range.
Easy target right there. He steps up and brings the club down. 22 and a 6 with the shield. So he brings the club as you were dodging out of the way a minute ago, or as you're reeling from the strike in the shoulder from the shield, all of a sudden across your back, this club just batters you in the shoulder, right in between the shoulder blades, making you arch your back and take a deep breath in. And you will take 3 points of damage as it strikes you across the back.
I'm unconscious.
All right, the party watches as Yemfir goes, no, and there's a splash as he falls into the water.
Well, that's not good.
That's not good at all. Thanks a lot, assholes.
He's going to finish his movement right there.
Should have used that fucking face step.
Arneth.
Okay, well, I guess I have to fight now, because my bird friend had fallen.
Looks like you're going to have to fight now.
Well, I'm going to completely ignore these two that are right up on me. Can I move one space away?
Where to? Ping it on the map for me.
Just right here.
You would get an attack of opportunity from the one that's just to the just above you. but you would still be within the threat range of the one to your right. So you can move there, but one of them is going to get a free swipe at you.
Hmm.
I mean, you can
Would it
risk
be
it.
possible? Would it be possible to shoot this one?
Because you're currently in melee, even though you're not in melee with that one, you're still engaged in melee and all of the ducking and weaving and dodging that comes with that. Making an attack with your bow would put you at disadvantage because you were in melee.
I mean, I'm already unconscious. It doesn't really matter. Unless they're going to eat my dead body, nibble my giblets or something.
That'd be so unfortunate.
And he dies. All the fucking work I put into my character, he fucking dies in the first.
Well said.
Oh, man.
Okay, can I take out my short sword and try to attack this one?
You can. So what you would do is drop your bow, and as your movement, instead of moving, you would whip your sword out and make an attack. So go ahead and do so now. That will hit. Go ahead and roll for damage.
What the fuck are all my rolls?
I don't know. All right. And you stab and finding perch in between the scales on his body. You slide the sword in, and he gives out a raspy cry as you do so. And it is now Gillet's turn.
In which case, I will be going ahead and attacking the person quite next to me.
All right.
With my sword. So, boop.
That will hit.
All right.
All right. All right. You still have a bonus action, so you have movement up to 30 feet, an action, which would be your attack, and I believe as a monk you can make an unarmed strike as a bonus action.
Yes, and I will go ahead and do that.
All right, go for it. That will also hit. Excellent. So you guys watch as he stabs the blade into the lizard folk in front of him and then hits him with a flat palm, knocking the lizard folk off of the blade and kind of sending him reeling in his spot. All right. Yenfir, I need a death saving throw, please.
No.
Yes.
Roll good.
Fuck.
Did you land face up or face down in the water?
I guess we'll find out. Was it death saves?
Yeah, so if you click on your character sheet, there's a spot for death save. Excellent, that's one success.
Yay.
You're only 2 more away from stabilizing, or 3 away from permanent death.
So I landed on my back. Yay!
Yeah. You were not drinking in the water.
Breathing in water.
Unfortunately, it is their turn. You watch, the other party members watch as the lizard folk bends down and starts to apply what looks like a poultice or some other kind of, he takes out this thing from his pack and opens it up and starts applying it to the wound where you were bleeding at. And you actually stabilize. You're not back to 1, but you do not have to make any more death saving throws. You are stable.
I don't trust that at all.
Strange lizard folks chanting, saving things that they find. Oh, what could be trustworthy about that? That is his action.
I hope you didn't like your ass that much.
Oh my god.
All right. This one is going to try to successfully attack the very nimble half-orc. And he is still sucked. Finally! So he swings with the great club, and you kind of, it's this neat thing where you kind of duck your head and roll your shoulder so that the club just goes right off of you without doing any damage. And as you stand, that's when he stabs forward with the shield, those 2 spikes on it, catching you. And you take 8 points of damage as he stabs it into your side and pulls it out and gives you a hiss as he does so. Again, gore, blood tearing away from it.
I think they do a lot of damage for the first level. I'm just saying. I'm not trying to question you, but
who just got hit?
You, Arneth.
Okay.
You got hit for 8 points of damage.
Okay.
Is at this time that the DM would like to remind the party that there is nothing wrong with collecting yourselves by running away.
Yeah, can you pick my ass up and get the fuck out of here because I'm not into this?
And the one that's just above you will also try to hit. What is your armor class?
14.
And you take a whopping 6 points of damage. As you reel from the one that hits you in the side, it pulls back, and the one that's on the other side of you catches you on the shoulder. Pain shoots through your arm, your muscles, and then he comes up and hits you in the back with the blades attached to that shield and pulls back.
Well,
are you at 0 as well?
I had 5 hit points, and he just did 6, so I would like to use Relentless Endurance.
And go to 1 instead. Okay.
Yes.
You start to slump to your knees, and then the orcish heritage within your blood demands you to stay on your feet. You bare your teeth, your tusks showing through, and as you start to slump, you kind of steel yourself, dropping one shoulder, and you stand back up, back at 1 hit point, but
not today, bitch.
Reeling.
Not today, bitch.
And last but not least is the one facing off against the monk. The 9 doesn't hit your armor class. I know it's higher than that, but the 22 definitely hits, right?
Afraid so.
We're gonna all die here.
All right. You take 5 points of damage as he brings his club up and hits you with it as hard as he can, trying to knock you unconscious.
Criminy.
All right.
I'm so upset.
Arneth, it is your turn.
Oh, gosh. Oh, gosh. I wish I had a healing potion.
I have the healer's kit. I'm just unconscious at the
Get my kit! I'm not touching him unconscious! All right. Arneth, what are you doing?
I have no idea. I really want to try to run away.
Okay.
But at the same time,
you can take your action to do what is called a disengage. You basically, instead of attacking, you spend your time watching for attacks, and it allows you to move away, and then you continue to use your movement to run.
I would love to do that.
Okay, so you would take a disengage and forgo any attacks that you have, and then that'll allow you to move without getting attack of opportunity against you, and then you can move your full movement. 30 feet, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
All right.
Go
ahead and move yourself. I know you can't move 30 feet because the edge of the map is there. Go ahead, though, and just take yourself down off of the edge of the map, or down to the edge of the map.
Okay.
All right.
I'm sorry.
Gillett?
I fucking hate you. I will not forget this.
I mean, I could always run towards you
Gillet?
and then just die on top of you.
Well, I'm still trying to fight through this guy next to me, see if I can at least drag the confetti home.
All right.
I'd actually like to do that. I'm going to make a stupid decision, and I want to run towards Yennefer's freaking body.
That's fine. You can do that. I'll let you use your movement to get towards his body.
Okay.
All right.
How far can I go?
You could have moved 30 feet from where you were. So you were here. That's 6 squares from this spot right here. Avoiding contact, you can only make it to like really right here, this square right here.
Okay.
All right. So Gillet, what are you doing?
Bam.
All right, that will hit.
Bam again.
All right. He's looking rough, but he's still on his feet.
Bam.
That will miss.
Ah.
So you take your dagger, you take your short sword, and find Perch underneath the plating in his ribs, and draw the blade out. And as you go to try to punch him with your fist, you collide with it, but you hit where the scales are toughest, and your hand just kind of bounces off. You shake your knuckles out a little bit. That was kind of painful.
Can I spit on him as a free action?
You may spit on him as a free action if you are so inclined to do so.
I will do so.
Yennefer, you are stabilized. There's not much you can do. You're laying there in the water, unconscious.
I'm dreaming about all the gold I could be making.
Blub, 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 blub.
Blub, blub, blub.
Blub, 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 blub.
I'm dreaming about how my roll should have been better.
And it's, as you're laying there unconscious, you feel the world fall away from you. Or maybe you're being thrown into the air. You're not sure. You watch, the rest of the party watches as the lizard folk that had put the poultice on him grabs him roughly by the clothing and hoists him in the air and lays him on his shoulder. So he's got him like on his shoulders. And then proceeds to go in this direction.
No!
Birdie.
Bye.
But can only get to about but can only get to right about there. All right. This one looks over, shouts something in Draconic, and starts backing off. Matter of fact, he goes all the way back into the woods and disappears into the tree line. This one yells something else in Draconic and moves back into the tree line as well. Leaving me with you. He hisses at you, shouts something, but you don't understand what it is unless you speak Draconic.
I do not.
And you get an attack of opportunity as he's going. Would you like to take it?
Certainly.
All right, go for it. No, that will not hit. So as he drops low to the ground and starts to run away, you swing, but unfortunately you just barely miss hitting him. That leads us back to Arnith.
Hi again. I'd like to use my longbow to shoot the kidnapper in either the back of the thigh or the knee.
All right. I'll let you make a called shot like that. You're going to make it with disadvantage because you're trying to aim for a target as opposed to just mass. So you can roll with disadvantage.
I don't want to hit the elf.
No, it's fine.
On its back.
I get you. I get you. You can roll it, but you'll just have disadvantage when you roll.
Okay.
The arrow goes wide and sticks into the tree right next to where he's at. Gillett?
Oh, I'm going to have to use my dart here again.
Okay. All right.
What are these rolls, man?
You flip that dart. Were you going to try to call a shot? I'll let you call a shot that. Because that's a good roll.
I mean, yeah, I would need to, not.
You sit there and move, and the dart goes right into the back of his thigh, and it doesn't hit straight on. It hits kind of at an odd angle. So what it does is it not only sinks in, but it kind of tears a little bit. Go ahead and give me damage on that.
All right.
So it's going to be 3. You watch as he stumbles, and as he does so, there's a splash as Yennefer falls down. The water, the splash, and all of a sudden the cold, it's actually not cold, it's kind of tepid. The water, though, splashing on your form. Give me a Constitution throw, please. Just a con check. So D20 plus con. No, not a save. Just roll your Constitution. Like click on the word Constitution.
Well, that's better.
You take a sharp breath in, and your eyes flutter open. You're back at 1 hit point.
Yay!
The lizard man has dropped you, so it is your turn. You are prone in the water, but you can move. You can take an action to disengage and then continue the rest of your movement. It takes you 10 feet to get up. So 10 to get up, and then you have 20 feet left.
Okay, I'm going to get up.
Okay. You can do disengage to break away from his attacks and not get an attack of opportunity.
So if I try to move away from him normally, he'll have an attack of opportunity on me?
Right, but if you use your action to disengage, he will not.
Okay.
Yeah, if you use your action to disengage, he doesn't get an attack of opportunity on you whatsoever.
Then I only get 20 feet, right?
But you can only move 20 feet regardless of. Getting up takes you 10 feet of movement.
Yeah, but I have a bonus action here called Face Step.
Okay, so you get up, and you're going to use Face Step?
Yep.
All right,
because
excellent.
I can move 30 feet.
So as a bonus action, all right, so you guys watch as Birdie climbs to his feet and then kind of pulls a John Cena and disappears. And where do you want to reappear at? You can move 30 feet with it.
Just get the fuck out of Dodge and is over here now.
Perfect. That is enough to your movement, and you still have 20 feet of regular movement left.
Good. I'm going to continue going away from this fucking lizard person.
So you're running away.
I'm like, fuck y'all, bye.
Yeah, so you're running away. You can actually use your action to continue dashing, and so you just book on out of there.
Yeah. I don't even say anything.
You just nope out completely.
Mm-hmm.
The lizard folk drags himself back into the woods, clutching the leg where the dart stuck in him. None of the rest of them seem to be moving towards you guys. You can hear yips and shouts in that draconic language, but they don't seem to be getting any closer. Arneth, what do you plan to do? Double move the hell out of there?
Sounds good to me.
All right. And I assume Gillett and Yennefer is just running.
I'm
Tactical retreat.
I'm already having a drink at the tavern. Like,
all right.
Fuck this.
You guys make it back moving at a good clip. You guys can make it all the way back into town. It'll be setting on dusk when you get there. So I'm going to assume you continue to do so. Correct?
Yeah.
All right.
I say so. I don't know about the rest of them, but I'm done.
All right.
I'm done with these lizards.
You guys make your way back into town, looking the worst for wear, smelling of swamp water. All of you just a bloodied mess. You make your way over to the Rolling Inn, climb in there. They look at you and, they kind of point upstairs. You nod. They bring you buckets of warm water to wash off and get clean with, and you sack out for the night. Annalise, having made it into town before them, you're sitting in the tap room of the Rolling Inn about the time that they come rolling in, looking half beaten, bedraggled, like they just had the worst end of the beating that they've ever had, the worst beating that they've ever had. And with that, we'll continue next week. Everybody is at the tavern and having a good time. I know we went over. I want to thank everybody for hanging out with me and coming in. We'll be again next week from Lucky Dice Cafe in Huntsville. I'll be broadcasting live from 6 p.m. till hopefully 9. And I hope that everybody can join me again. Remember, when we hit 25 followers on our Twitch feed, we'll be doing a giveaway. And if we hit our Patreon numbers, which you can look for Crafty Kiernanos in the chat room to tell you more, I'll be giving away an official copy of a D&D book, either Sword Coast Adventures Guide, Tales from the Yawning Portal, or possibly even the new Tome of Annihilation, or Tomb of Annihilation. I can't read today. So, look forward to seeing you all again next week. Until then,
yes.
Roar for initiative.